Good evening, this is Kim Parker with the 6 o'clock news. Turmoil in the Middle East has erupted again, with the new sanctions that Turkey has imposed on oil and export goods from the region. The Foreign Secretary believes that this is the beginning of a rather tumultuous set of talks between the two regions. An earthquake was detected this afternoon off of the coast of Peru sometime around 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Geologists from around the world are reporting that the quake was a magnitude 6.2, and reports are still coming in as to the number of casualties and the extent of the damage. We will have more on this as it comes in. In sports, still no hope for the Knights as the hockey team is on a 7-game losing streak, losing once again to Detroit 7-1. Fans across the league unanimously believe that this is the sophomore jinx for the team following their appearance last year in the finals. In technology news, cellular carriers across the country are at a loss to explain a shutdown of cellular towers last night around 10 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. Many providers believe that this is due to recent climate changes, or the recent eclipse that occurred. We will keep you up to date on this story as well. Thanks for watching the 6 at 6. This is Kim Parker. See you back in an hour.
Good evening, this is Kim Parker with the 7 o'clock news. Turmoil in the Middle East has erupted again with the new sanctions that Turkey has imposed on oil and export goods from the region. The Foreign Secretary believes that this is the beginning of a rather tumultuous set of talks between the two regions. An earthquake was detected earlier this afternoon off of the coast of Peru, sometime around 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Geologists from around the world are reporting that the quake was a magnitude 6.2, and reports are putting the casualties currently at around 98 dead. There are reports of significant damage as far away as Lima, but researchers fear that there may be aftershocks on the way as well. Public officials have alerted citizens to take precautions in the event that these quakes are not over. Following a technology story we discussed at 6 p.m., there was another report coming in that cellular carriers are having much disruption this evening, and several of the nation's largest carriers are reporting outages in many areas across the country, with service being out in the states of Washington, Oregon, Northern California, Nevada, Utah, Colorado, Wyoming, and the Dakotas. Scientists and technicians are at a loss to explain this issue, and are looking into the matter around the clock. More on this situation when it becomes available. We will be back with you after these messages with the 7 o'clock news.
Good evening, here's Tim McGrath with the 10 o'clock news. Our top story this hour is the news story of the cell phone disruption that has been sweeping across the country this evening, with most of the West Coast still blacked out, and outages reported throughout most of the Midwest. Earlier at 7 p.m., we mentioned that the West Coast has been affected by this cellular outage. It now appears that the Midwest states are now being affected by this telecommunications blackout as well. Kansas, Nebraska, Oklahoma, Texas, and New Mexico are being added to the list. All internet and cellular signals are out, and not even 911 calls are going through. It is reported that landlines are still operative, and there has been a massive overload in the landline circus, causing most of them to be jammed in full at this time. Cellular and civil authorities are urging citizens not to use their phones or landlines unless it is a true emergency. Many spokespeople from the country's largest carriers have stated that they hope to get this situation under control in a few hours. I'm Tim McGrath, and you are watching 10 at 10. Tim McGrath back with you for the 11 o'clock news. We have just received reports from the cities of Los Angeles, San Francisco, San Diego, Portland, Las Vegas, and Salem, Oregon, that there has been some restoration in cellular signals across the country. However, others are not so lucky this evening, with most of the states in the Central Time Zone reporting outages as well, including most of Canada, Ohio, Indiana, West.
We interrupt the following programming to bring you this civil danger warning. The following message is being transmitted by the governors of the states of California, Oregon, Washington, and Nevada. At approximately 10:30 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, the cellular phone outages reported by many U.S. carriers has ended, and a resumption of services has occurred. However, many reports have been issued to the civil authorities, involving minor disruption of cellular services, and a sharp increase of incidences of civil unrest. Reports have been coming in from many cities in the states of California, Oregon, Washington, Utah, Nevada, and New Mexico. Civil authorities have reported increases in the incidences of beatings, stabbings, and other acts of violence against others. It is unclear what is causing these incidences, but many reports are stating that it is due to the lack of access to the active cell phone signals, and panic from incidents that occurred while the carriers were blacked out. Civil authorities are advising all citizens in the mentioned states to use caution when not in public, and to not travel alone if possible at this time. More information on this situation as it becomes available. You are listening to the emergency alert system. All broadcast and cable stations shall transmit this message. This has been a civil danger warning. We now return you to regular programming.
Thank you for joining us, everyone. Here's the latest on the cellular phone story we were working on earlier. So far, we have seen a nationwide outage that has now reached the East Coast, but the service has now resumed in the Midwest and parts of the Ohio Valley. Reports are continuing to pour in about violent acts that are being perpetrated by many people on the West Coast. And now, a growing number of reports have been sent in from the Midwest and the Rockies. We're not sure what the cause of this unrest is, but the reports seem to be growing in number. Oh my goodness.
The following message is being transmitted by order of the United States government. This is a civil danger warning. The civil authorities in your area have authorized the transmission of this message to keep you informed of situations involving civil dangers. We have received several reports over the last 1 to 2 hours of interference in the cellular signals leading to cellular phone explosions. There have been more than 10 instances in the last hour of citizens being injured or killed by their cell phones exploding unexpectedly. In all cases, the citizens were using clear comm phones. At this time, the federal government is asking all citizens using clear comm phones to power them down and to turn them into the local police departments immediately. This has been a civil danger warning. The civil authorities in your area have authorized the transmission of this message to keep you informed of situations involving civil dangers. The civil authorities have suspended all programming in order to transmit this message to the public. All broadcast and cable systems shall transmit this message. This message will be retransmitted in 1 minute. The following message is being transmitted by order of the United States government. This is a civil danger warning. The civil authorities in your area have authorized the transmission of this message to keep you informed of situations involving civil dangers. Over the last hour, there have been several more reports of random explosions from clear-comm cellular phones, numbering above 50. It is unclear what is causing the explosions from these phones. The civil authorities in your area have elevated this alert to a civil emergency and have authorized this broadcast to all cable and satellite systems. At this time, all citizens in possession of a clear comm phone are advised to power them off immediately. If possible, turn the phones over to the civil authorities. Municipal and state authorities will be entering neighborhoods in approximately 20 minutes to begin collection. There have been many reports of continued riots, muggings, and displays of aggression across the country in various states. Although cell phone service has resumed, there is still a wave of violence sweeping the continental United States. As many as 900 people have been reported dead over the last 4 hours, and civil authorities are at a loss to explain the situation. We have just received a bulletin from the federal government that the President of the United States is planning to impose martial law and a nationwide curfew to curb this situation in the next few hours. More information on this as it becomes available. You are listening to the emergency alert system. All broadcast and cable systems shall transmit this message. This has been a civil emergency message. The civil authorities in your area have authorized the transmission of this message to keep you informed of situations involving civil unrest. The civil authorities have suspended all non-news programming in order to transmit this message to the public. Please stand by for more news and information from your local news station.
This order has been handed down from the President himself. In case you are just joining us, the President, as well as members of the Joint Chiefs of Staff, the Senate, and Congress have met for an emergency session to impose a martial law implication in order to bring the nationwide violence epidemic to a stop. There are a slew of reports coming in from nearly every state in the Union of violent behavior. Now have reports of riots and looting taking place in the cities of Tacoma, Portland, Tulsa, Albuquerque, and many others. The National Guard has been called out to deal with the situations in many of these areas. We are now learning of a situation in which a gang of looters have attacked the residence of a Tennessee senator. Reports indicate that the mob has killed at least one member of the family, and the senator himself has been injured in the altercation. Jesus. We have one other report that was just handed to me that there is actually a squad of law enforcement officers in northern Minnesota that have apparently occupied the city hall in the city of St. Paul, Minnesota. The report states that the police have begun opening fire on citizens and vehicles in the area. More on this to come, but we have to pause for a station ID. Stay with us and don't go anywhere.
The following message is being transmitted by order of the United States government. This is a civil emergency message. The civil authorities in your area and the federal government have authorized this message to alert you of cases involving civil emergencies. The President, along with members of the Federal Communications Commission, are urging all users of clear comm phones to dispose of them or turn them over to civil authorities immediately. The signals that are being received by the cell phones are not traditional cellular carrier frequencies. There is a suspicion that these phones have been tampered with and deliberately made to explode by their manufacturer. At this time,
are urging citizens to protect themselves at all costs. There is much speculation as to what is the cause of this mayhem and bedlam that is taking place throughout the U.S. tonight. We've heard various reports, from a violent toxin that is loose in the water to alien mind control, and several members of the separatist group, The Watch. A researcher at the University of Ohio has stated that this has something to do with the cellular signal that is being broadcast to subscribers' phones. The researcher goes on to state that the signal is not using the usual cellular carrier frequency, but a much lower frequency that has only been seen in clandestine governmental projects. These support the statement of... Wait, what the hell is going on back there? God, they got in. How the hell did they get in?
How did you get in here?
Don't let them!
Put that down! Get back! Get back! They're in here!
Message will be retransmitted in 1 minute. We have an update on this situation involving the cellular phones. A report issued less than 15 minutes ago stated that there has been multiple massive explosions across the country, with reports coming in from all across the United States. The reports state that the situation involving the explosions may have been in fact a terrorist plot against the United States all along. The report goes on to state that as the phones were collected by the civil authorities over the last several hours, the collected phones detonated in concert while in the possession of the civil authorities, with massive losses reported in many police departments around the country. The following message is being transmitted by the United States government. Please stand by. Please stand by. Please stand by for a message from the United States government.
Ladies and gentlemen, we have been unable to reach any of the members of the Clearcom Communications Company, or any of its board of directors. It is as if the company does not really exist. However, we have met with the members of the FCC and they are asking for us to cease all cellular communications at this time, so, by order of the President of the United States, we are shutting down all cellular carriers across the continental United States until further notice as of 9 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. They believe that this is a computer virus of some sort that has infected the phones via air transmissions. We are hoping that this will resolve the issue until the civil authorities have a chance to get the people under control. We will check back in at 12 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Thank you.
That was a message from the United States government. Please stand by for more. Please stand by. Please stand by. Please.